What's up, guys? Cody today with Sevarog discussion. So just real quick, this is my first time using their replay system that they have. So I don't quite really know how it works. So I'm gonna be figuring out how it works while I talk about Sevarog here. So Sevarog, for those of you that play Paragon, you know that he's one of the newly released champions for Paragon, and they've marked him as a tank, kind of this tank fighter, late game scaling jungler. And I think, yeah, he seems to fit well that way. So he's pretty much like Nasus in my opinion. In terms of the most iconic part of his kit, is that he stacks his Q. Nasus stacks his Q with his can't get any. Okay, there you go. Nasus stacks his Q with by killing minions. Sevarog stacks his by killing minions. Only difference is that Nasus would give more damage to his Q. Sevarog just gets more health for every stacks he has, which it does not show in the replay how many stacks I have. Okay, that's good to know. But so when so in that sense, Sevarog's pretty much like Nasus in my opinion, especially when I first heard about how he was going to be. But yeah, I want to compare him to like every single champion in the league that I can possibly compare him to. It would be I'd compare him to kind of like Thresh, in the sense that his Q, when he Qs, he's stealing their souls, so that's kind of what Thresh does with his passive. He goes around and picks up souls. He stacks his Q with he stacks using his Q like Nasus, and he gets HP from killing stuff like Scion would. And yeah, so like I said, I see him mostly him mostly as Nasus, and in League, Nasus isn't played all that much, and for good reason. It's because his whole kit is pretty much just stack and then run up to people and just Q them to death, and you're a tank, so it's hard for people to kill you. That being said, though, is not necessarily the best way to do things, because it's really hard to do well with champions that their whole thing is just run up to kill somebody, because if they get CC'd well, then they can't do anything. If they have, as in Nasus' case, he's a tank kind of, but he doesn't have that much CC though to contribute after if he like gets behind or anything. So in that sense, he's also bad as well. Really, he's only good. Nasus is only good if the game goes long enough for him to stack up, and if he's not bullied in the laning phase. And even then, you have to just hope that they don't CC you well. Sevarog, on the other hand, though, is very different. Because Sevarog, first off, he's not gonna deal damage. He's not really there for damage purposes. You can build him damage, because his Q will do damage, and his Q will do damage, scaling with 80. And then if you you just have him, you have him kind of be like Nasus, except where Nasus would stack damage with his Q and build tank. Sevarog would stack health with his Q and build damage. he becomes more of a fighter in that sense, but for the most part, I really don't feel like that's how we should play, because he's Sevarog during team fights is going to, for the most part, his job is going to be dash in there and ult them into the enemy team, and he's gonna dash in there and ult somebody into your team. And in that sense, he really needs he really should be played just as a tank with CC for the most part, in my opinion. Because his dash really is. I feel like his dash is really just to set up his ultimate, help him get close enough to set up his ultimate. Because pretty much his Q during team fights is useless. It's just extra damage. And his Sevarog during team fights is not someone you want to have. He's not someone you want to be dealing damage with. And so as a result, I mean, if you built him damage, then it would be. But so during team fights, he's pretty much just there to tank and to CC people down. Because he can root people with his E, which for those of you that don't know, it's like a long range root. You can root people with his E, dash in, ult them into your team, and then just whack on stuff. During his ganks were kind of the same way as well, but and that's in in that sense, since he has that CC available, I feel like he's just more useful than what Nasus would be in League. So because when they first said that they were gonna do this, I was like, I don't know. It depends upon how it would depend upon how long the games go, because they're talking about stacking stuff. But then I saw the rest of his kit, and it's like, okay, well, he's got a lot of other CC to, so that way even if he doesn't even he kind of gets behind and stacks anyways, he's still useful because he's building tanks still. He just doesn't have as much health, and he's got CC for his team to follow up with. So overall, I think Sevarog is a great champion to be added. He's pretty balanced because he doesn't. I mean, if you, like I said, you can build him damage, but then he's just easier to kill, unless it goes really, really late game. But yeah, for the most part, I like to build with a little bit of damage, with a little bit of AD, but mostly tank. I like to just have a wee bit of damage, just so that way I'm not just slapping the enemy, that I can actually hurt them. So, and yeah, that's pretty much it for Sevarog. Yep. Sorry that I haven't really been making a lot of Paragon videos. I've just been very, very busy with a lot of other stuff. And it's hard for me to find time to play Paragon and League and all my other games. So I'm working on managing my schedule better. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and like and subscribe if you did. And see you in the next one. Thanks.